Hey, my man, good to see you here in the sports office.
I heard of Fire Up Chips, so Fire Up Chips, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah! Yes, Fire up, buddy!
That is our resident Chippewa, James Paxton. All right. Hey, thanks for coming in, Jim. I appreciate it. I know that, you deal with all kinds of crazies in the morning on that show with John Jansen and Heather. So let's talk about what you're dealing with when it comes to the Red Wings, okay? Last time out, they lost to Vegas after giving up a 3-1 lead, and now they're 3 points behind Tampa Bay. What are you hearing from the fans first off?
This is a big deadline for Steve Yzerman, right? I mean, this team's in the playoffs, but they got a minus goal differential. They're not a good 5-on-5 team, and if they want to avoid a March collapse, this has to be the deadline to cement themselves as a playoff team, right?
I would agree.
They never collapsed in March. It's
they've never collapsed in March before. But again, the question becomes, who do you go get? Who does he go look at? I mean, there's a lot of names out there. Who's number one on your list, Jim?
Well, I think the name you look at is Vinny Trocheck, right? Go way back to the days as a Plymouth Whaler. He's got a connection to the area. He has a no-trade clause, but he'd make a lot of sense, would be a center for that second line, part of a Team USA line. If you put DeBrincat and Kane on either side of him, kills penalties, wins face-offs, plays in his own end, and can drive a line. He'd make a lot of sense, and I know they're kicking around blue liners. Right Rustalainen for the Flyers is a big ogre of a defenseman, and Falk for St. Louis is a name I'd like to see too.
Do you think that this is a situation like in Draft Day, the movie, where Yzerman has a piece of paper in his hand that says Trocheck no matter what?
No, we know Yzerman's MO. He's never going to outbid somebody. It's got to be on his terms. So I'm very leery as we get to the trade deadline that this is going to be yet another one of those press conferences where we hear about prices being too high. But the moment's there. They've got their picks. They've got the cap space. They're in the postseason, and their coach said on our radio show they've done enough to be buyers.
Hey, look, I love what I'm hearing, but I also know the other side of that coin. Go ahead, James. What if they do nothing?
Panic in Hockey Town over here.
They can't do nothing again, okay? I can't, it's so funny to me just how our schedules have worked, between my buddy here. I've done a lot of trade deadlines. Haven't been very busy days in this city.
That's true.
I worked Pistons trade deadline, and the stream was like, we want to talk to you, and I'm like, well, there's nothing to talk about.
Don't discount Kevin Herter. They got to give him a chance.
Has he
get
played?
Him off the bench. They got to get him off the bench.
Okay, whatever. Jim,
let's stick to hockey
Jim,
right here.
They can't do nothing again. I'm going to lose my mind if they do nothing again. It's year 7,000. You have a chance for the playoffs. You especially after last night, because they fell apart. Bad, man. They fell on their face. And then when it was the power play with a minute to go, DeBrincat hit it off a guy's backside, hit it over the net. Raymond can't score. And it's like, you need something. Get a blue liner. Get an offensive guy. I like the Trocheck one. I like Robert Thomas. I mean, sure, go get Elias. But if you do nothing and 3 p.m. hits tomorrow,
Having said all that, James, does it matter who you give up as long as you get some of those guys?
No, go get somebody.
Right. Who are you giving up? Anybody? Everybody?
Sure, why not? What do you mean? If the name I saw was JT Compher. Get rid of Compher.
I would agree.
Get rid of Kopp. Get rid of anybody. We don't need to keep talking about the kids. The kids are here. The kids are grown. The kids can buy alcohol. Let's go get something.
Hey, Jim, what do you think about the passion from Category 5 over here?
I was going to say, let's say the quiet part out loud and very loud. They have a 9-year drought without the playoffs. This would be 10. It's the longest streak in franchise history. It would be the third longest drought in the history of hockey. This is not normal. It shouldn't drag on as long as it has. But to your point, we have grown accustomed. Trade deadlines are supposed to be one of the exciting days as a fan because you're refreshing social media and what's this insider going to say and could we get this guy? And it's supposed to be an exciting day, but I can tell you, as I put the head on the pillow tonight and get ready to do morning radio tomorrow, I am not filled with buzz and excitement and joy. I am filled with concern, anxiety, and dread.
Yeah, but part of that comes from, Steve Yzerman not showing you anything. I mean, how many years have we seen Yzerman go through this where he won't say anything? He definitely won't show you anything. So
and he won't do anything.
You really have no idea what he's thinking. And at sometimes it feels like if he hears something out there, then he's not going to do it. Because it's out there already. I don't know if that's true or not, but still, the idea that he has to make a move has got to be a big weight on him, and sometimes it looks like he doesn't feel that weight at all, Jim.
Well, he has said he's going to do what he thinks is best for the team.
Right.
Talk radio callers or loudmouth hosts to be damned. He's going to do it his way on his own timeline, and we got to sit and suffer in the meantime. No, I don't think he feels the pressure from us, but I would hope he feels some pressure as a competitor, right? We watched this guy wear the C. We watched him skate for this team. He doesn't want to sit there on a golf course in April. He wants his team to be in the playoffs, I would hope.
I would agree with that. Go ahead.
So in past years, I think you could say that some of the, I'm not going to say excuses, but reasons why they didn't go crazy with certain trades makes a little bit of sense. They weren't quite over the hump. They were battling for a playoff spot, but it was teetering. Now they're in such a good spot. They have to make some moves.
1,000%.
And they have to make a move. They have to make some moves just for the team, for the players to know that that Yzerman has their back, that he's going to try to do their best, for the fans and everybody else. As a fan of the Capitals throughout all of the years that they underachieved in the playoffs,
right,
even in those years, they would make a ton of moves at the trade deadline to try to get over the hump. Right. And I could even live with the horrendous, we'll give Nashville Philip Forsberg for Martin Erat, that was a horrific trade. But even making that trade, they ended up winning a cup and going to the playoffs all the time because they kept trying, they kept making these moves. It's time for the Red Wings to make these moves.
I would agree. It's time. It's past time for the Wings to make a move. And you know what? This illustrates how you can't just do it all with your farm system and the guys that you have under your control. You have to make some inroads out there and see what other teams have, right, Jim? Because that's what we've been seeing, what other teams have and what guys need in order to get this team over the hump.
Yeah, and I'll just piggyback off of something Greg said. Like, from a morale standpoint, Dylan Larkin last year alluding to them not getting a boost at the deadline. Todd McClellan saying we've done enough to be buyers. If you come up short because you squabble over, well, I didn't want to throw in this Grand Rapids Griffin or this draft pick that won't even be on the team for another 3 years. Right. What are you saying to these guys who put themselves on the edge of the postseason? You add a real defenseman, you could have a real top two pairs of D to roll. If you add a real center, you bump Kopp down to the third line. You become a tougher down-the-middle hockey team, and suddenly we're not talking about could they get in the playoffs, but now they're better set up to compete when they're in the playoffs.
Exactly. Maybe you get a first, second round playoff series that you win this time around.
Yeah, it's not just about making the playoffs at this point. You're trying to get guys to succeed in the playoffs, and you have to make moves to do that. And
you know what? Doesn't it fall upon Yzerman to do something with more impetus? Only because the longer he waits, the more these guys get older and rotate out, and then all of a sudden we have the situation over again where we're rebuilding, and it's another 10 years before anything happens. I mean, this is the time. I mean, you got to put the hammer down, right, James?
No, absolutely. And Jim, kind of obvious here, but is Steve Yzerman just so comfortable that that's why he has no urgency? Because I don't think they're going to fire him anytime soon, regardless.
I don't get the impression that he's going to get fired anytime soon either. So, he operates from a position of confidence, whether it's earned or not. And I think he feels, I have a reputation. I know what I'm doing. But the longer it goes on, I think the more the cracks end up in the surface there, and we start looking a little deeper, going, well, hold on. What is it? I mentioned earlier, he doesn't like to outbid people. Can you guys name a situation where he had to win a bidding war? Free agency, trade deadline as a buyer. The biggest deals he's done, DeBrincat wanted to come here and was restricted. Sider and Raymond were under control as restricted. Larkin never hit free agency. When has he gone in toe-to-toe with another team and been willing to put one penny more than the other side and win a bidding war? When do you reach that breaking point? I know as fans and everybody here talking, we've reached that point. The question is, when does Steve reach that point?
Yeah, even a guy like Kane, who was coming from the Rangers, he didn't have, 20 teams vying for him. They took advantage of the fact that he could come play here with DeBrincat and all that, and they brought him in too. Jim's absolutely right.
And John Gibson didn't have so many teams really wanting him. It made sense, but he didn't have to win him over from another side.
Right, and now this is what we're finding out that he has to do. I mean, he has to get in there. He's got to spend some money. He's got to get the checkbook out. If he has got to bring people in, I mean,
bring guys in with term. If you got to bring guys in,
I'm sure that he's talked to upper management about, hey, look, or is he getting something from upper management that says, hey, you know what, Steve, I know you want to do this, but I don't know if I want to write that check.
How can you say that after Framber Valdez?
Hang on.
I was just going to jump in and say that. Scott Harris has been here half the time, less than half the time. He got the green light from Chris Ilitch. You can't say there's not a competitive bone in his body. I know that had been previously insinuated, but when you look what the Tigers are doing, Steve, who's been here 7 seasons now, it's you, dude. It's nobody else but you.
I would agree, and Detroit could still make a big swing, especially with the assets that they have, and underneath these new CBA rules where you have a playoff salary cap and all that other kind of stuff. I'm glad everybody agrees.
Yeah,
look at that.
yeah.
Hey, you know what? Anybody in the Zoom room tonight? Yeah, look at that. We've got people in here tonight. This is good. So tell them to hang on right there. We'll get to them in a minute. We're having our conversation with Jim Costa. I know everybody's interested because we are talking about the one subject that has everyone's attention, and that's the Detroit Red Wings right before the trade deadline. It's supposed to be an exciting time. It's supposed to be a thrilling time. James is sitting back with a look on his face like, yawn.
James is ready to jump off a cliff if they don't do anything tomorrow.
I'm right with you because we haven't seen evidence of it.
It's funny that Jim was like, he's going to bed tonight with concern. I'm going to bed with apathy. I don't think anything will happen tomorrow. I'm not going to have to go in and have a busy day tomorrow at work.
Now, isn't that one of the worst things that can happen, where you have apathy? And
do I seem excited about it?
Just stop caring about it. I mean,
do I seem happy to have apathy?
No. But I know that there are fans out there that are probably looking at this tonight, saying, "Oh please, do something, do something."
Was it McClellan's one said it's like Christmas almost, like this trade deadline.
Santa's been dead for a while. Wow. Wow.
I love the harshness here.
All right, so I have a question for Jim. Well, I have a question for Jim because do you really think that that this is the year that Steve is actually going to make some legitimate deals?
I don't.
No.
Oh.
Hey Jim, I want to paint you a picture a little bit. We're gonna go off track. We have like a minute left here, but I want your reaction when the Chicago Bears have Max Crosby in like 2 weeks. Because the Lions won't trade for him, and now I've already seen the blueprint for the Bears to get him, and for Ben Johnson to win a Super Bowl, and for me to be like my great uncle who's 91 years old and has never seen the Lions win a Super Bowl. No
one has ever seen the Lions win.
I'm aware. What's your reaction to that one?
If the Bears get Crosby, it's nightmare fuel. But I put it to you like this: the time for the Lions, if you want to go off in this tangent, the time for the Lions to do that kind of move was 2 seasons ago. Now, I don't know if they should be burning multiple first-round picks. They got to rebuild an offensive line. They got to rebuild a secondary potentially. They do need edge rush, but I'm of the belief the time to do it was before you started locking in big contracts to Goff, St. Brown, Sewell, Hutch, Aleem McNeil, J-Mo, and that's not to mention the deals that they still want to get locked up. They're squeezed. I'd hate if Crosby joined Parsons in the division as nightmare fuel, but I mean, their window to do that kind of deal was a year or two ago.
Oh, are we looking at everybody taking a step past the Lions now?
That looks like it.
Oh, it does look like it.
Poor James, man. He's
I'm so glad I got like the sports job at Fox 2 for all my teams to just not do anything. Wow. It's so
just
great,
in
man.
time, right, brother?
You got your Pistons, you got your Tigers, you're fine.
Speaking of time, that kind of wraps it up with you, Jim Costa. I appreciate you coming in tonight, and I want fans to remember that you are a big part of the morning show on 97.1 The Ticket. It's the Costa and Jansen with Heather show. Love Heather Park out there as well. Thanks a lot, Jim, for joining us tonight and coming into the sports office.
You guys like to have a good time anytime.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Appreciate it.
Hey, look, there's more of the sports office right after this. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Office. Woody Woodruff here on a Thursday evening, along with Greg Canner and James Paxton. Guys,
James made it through the commercial.
It was nice. I'm glad he made it through the commercial because,
close.
all that Red Wings talk and pressure weighing on
I
him.
was 0% wrong.
No,
and what I said, 0% wrong.
You were
and
totally-
anyone in the Zoom room, please turn your camera on and tell me I was right, so these guys can think James was right. I would appreciate that.
I love it. Let's
I'll talk to you at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
let's change subjects a little bit, okay? Let's go to the Detroit Pistons, a team that has smiles on everyone's face.
Didn't do nothing
lately.
at the trade deadline too.
They do nothing at the trade deadline as well. But,
Free Kevin Herter.
let's start this Pistons discussion, okay, with what we saw the other night in the loss, okay? Obviously, there's a formula that you can use to beat the Pistons, okay? And it's slow down Cade and make everybody else beat you, which is why at the trade deadline we're looking for more scoring help and all that other kind of stuff. Are we going to see it, Greg?
So the thing that we were talking about before the trade deadline, and thing that was the Pistons were playing so well, you don't want to mess with the chemistry of a team that was 40-10 or whatever they were,
right.
And all that. So if you brought in the big name, then all of a sudden, who needs the ball? Is Cade not going to get the ball as much? It could have caused problems. I'm not saying I, know exactly what would have happened. So they opted for depth shooting. Now, they won't let him off the bench, but that is still an issue. Is three-point shooting consistent? You have a game where Duncan Robinson has a very bad game like he did.
In fact, he's had a couple bad games.
And then you're kind of in trouble. And then you're relying on Tobias Harris or, because you know what you're going to get from Duren, you know what you can get from Cade. But, when you come to the playoffs, you're going to need a little more.
Well, to make it clear, because he is right, since the trade deadline and all the talk about who they should get, Cade's kind of supporting cast, not named Jalen Duren, kind of gone down because Cade hasn't been the same shooter either, but they've had games where their three-point shooting's 4 for 33, 3 for 31. The other night in Cleveland was 6 for 29, and it's like you're not going to win basketball games against anyone, let alone the top talent, which they've played in the last 2 weeks, and tonight they're in San Antonio. When you have an off shooting night and the team's able to work against your defense, you're going to lose.
Yeah, we're seeing this stretch of games as a measuring stick for this team right now.
Right.
And right now they're not measuring up the way I would like to see them measure up.
And not everyone's even playing. You played Cleveland without Donovan Mitchell and James Harden last Friday and needed a miracle overtime to beat them.
Oklahoma City didn't have anybody, and you beat them by 8 points.
Magic did not have Franz Wagner.
Right.
And then it's the other night with no Donovan Mitchell, they controlled the whole game. I mean, James Harden and Cleveland's offense were able to be really successful.
You know what? You talked to Greg. I think you mentioned it earlier about a big superstar coming in and changing the chemistry and all that. I don't even think it needs to be a big superstar because we've seen deficiencies already. Beef Stew comes back into the game, and it was like Paul Reed was now invisible, regulated to the bench. How come there's not the same use of these guys in the roles that they were productive in? Just riding pine now.
That's an issue that J.B. Bickerstaff was talking about months ago when they were playing so well and they had all of these players where if they missed a couple guys, they had the depth where they could. But now, if everyone's healthy and everyone's not suspended and everyone's in the lineup, it's difficult to get guys minutes and enough minutes where they're comfortable on the court where they're playing well. When do you take Ron Holland out or in? Yeah. Where do you put Asar? Where do you put now Danis?
Extra 4 minutes is now going to be Stu or
it's
whatever.
It's like it's a challenge for JB. He's got to find the right rotation that's going to work once you kind of get to the playoffs, and you're going to need to have you might have to shorten the bench. But these are your guys.
To get more specific on his point, because I think it is important, he's got to figure out like the wing rotation. Like you have Duncan Robinson, Javonte Green, Karis LeVert, and maybe I'll say Asar Thompson, even though he's more of a guard, and Ron Holland. Between those 5 guys, who's getting the bulk of your minutes? Some are better defenders. Some can shoot better. I like having Asar out there because he's really good at playing point and passing the ball around. But who is getting the majority of those minutes, I think, is more important than who do you play between Duran, Stewart, or Paul Reed, or Cade and the Danis thing? Your wings rotation has to be better.
I think the person who should get the most minutes is the person who's giving you the most points, because that's what you're going to need, especially with Cade, if he's not having a good night. Hey, listen, I got to squeeze in another break. There's more of the Sports Office right after this. Welcome back to the Sports Office. There's people in the Zoom room. Let's go to it right now. Hey, William, are you there, William? William, are you there? Hello, William. How are you? Can you hear me? No, William's having some difficulty. Let's continue. Let's move on from William. All right. We have Papa Dot coming into the studio right now. Papa, are you there?
Hey,
Papa, how are you, my friend?
You know I'm always here, guys. You
How
already
are you?
know I'm here.
I
I got two questions for y'all.
Bring it, Papa.
Who is that picture? Who is that picture in the middle of in the seat with Golf's jersey? And why do y'all go to commercials and y'all don't have?
Well, here's the thing. Because this is on the stream, okay, it's different than regular TV as far as commercials go.
Aren't we going on regular TV soon?
We are going on regular TV on March 23rd, I believe.
That is correct.
So it's coming soon. Well, you'll see us on regular TV.
Then we
with
have
all
to
the
go to
regular
commercials.
Yes.
and all that kind of
But
stuff.
this is,
But here on the stream, it's a little different. Now,
Lions fan.
That is just a Lions fan that we put a Jared Goff jersey on. It doesn't reflect anybody in particular. Like, it's not a picture of you, Papa Dot, that I put glasses on and a Chevy Detroit hat on or anything like that.
But I should be in the picture. I should be in the picture.
You know what?
We'll think about that. We'll think about that.
I believe you took a photo with James, didn't you? Maybe we'll
that's
put that
right.
picture up.
Yeah, I sure did.
Papa Dot and I were at the same New Year's
and
Eve
with,
party.
And with Lord,
Charlie
don't let
Langton?
me forget his name.
Charlie Langton.
Charlie.
Hey, exactly. Hey, you know what, Papa Dot? Let me get you real quick.
Yeah.
Red Wings on Friday against the Panthers. Detroit wins or loses?
They better win. They better
I like
win.
it. They better win.
And they
are
better
so
make some
correct.
trades so James is okay.
Hey, you know what? Last one here for you. Pistons and Spurs tonight. Who you got?
I got the Pistons, but they got to quit shooting 3-pointers, and they can't make them like that. Go to the hole. Go to the hole.
Look at
Clap it
that.
up.
Wise words.
Perfect advice from Papa Doc.
Thanks,
a
Papa.
lot for joining us. Thanks, Cat 5. Thanks, 3G. Thanks to you, and welcome back to the Sports Office tomorrow for more.
Thanks for joining us on another busy night of news here on Detroit's only nightly political talk show. This is The Pulse. I'm Rup Raj. You ever have one of those days that just feel a lot busier than others? Well,